Welcome back for another edition of the Kaufman Corner podcast. With you, as always, the good doctor, Dr. Rany Jazayerli, one of the co-founders of Baseball Prospectus. I'm Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. We're doing our prospect rankings, but we're doing them differently, right? Last year, we just each gave our list of 12. They were largely the same, shuffling around the same 12 to 13, 14 names, and, just a little bit off from each other. This time, because Rany is a competitive freak, we are going to do a draft.
Not like you, Soren. You're very zen. Your
right,
fantasy leagues there's no drama or conflict whatsoever. We drafted Royals like all-star teams like 2 years ago at Christmas time, and we almost ruined Christmas for everybody. It was so bloodthirsty. So.
It was. And so this time we're going to draft our Sweet 16 prospects. We'll have 16 prospects, so we're each going to draft 8 players. We're going to do a snake draft. So I'm going to go first. We came up with a way to figure out who would pick first. I'm going to pick first. Rany is going to go second and third, and then I'll go 4, 5, and so on and so forth. And the rule is they have to have rookie eligibility. So Jack Caglione is out, but Carter Jensen is in. To give you an idea of how this will work. No Noah Cameron or anything like that. And so if they're in the system, then they're eligible. And we're gonna make our draft, and we're not going to play a game or anything like that. We're just drafting the best prospects. That's how we're going to do this. We're going to do it right here, right now on the Kaufman Corner podcast.
You're listening to the Kaufman Corner podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Royals, breaking down the Royals like no one else can. Kaufman Corner is hosted by Rany Jazayerli and Soren Petro. Rany is a co-founder of Baseball Prospectus, author of Rany on the Royals, and a former columnist for Grantland, The Ringer, and The Athletic. Soren is the award-winning afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Kaufman Corner is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. And now, here are your hosts, Rany Jazayerli and Soren Petro.
And thank you very much, Curtis. We do appreciate it. Off and running. Here we go with our prospect draft. Looking for the Sweet 16 prospects. As I mentioned, we figured out a way on who's going to go first. I'm going to go first. Rany, before we start, anything in the preparation that jumped at you that you would like to remark about that maybe you learned in the process of getting ready for this?
I mean, the first thing I learned was after the number 1 prospect, picking like number 2 and number 3 was extremely difficult. Like it's very clear who the best prospect in the system is, and it's not at all clear who's second best.
Okay.
Which, there it may be a good thing, but like there's definitely a balance to be made between the younger guys who have high upside but haven't done much of anything yet in the minor leagues versus the guys who are close to the major leagues who are maybe 22, 23 years old but have no record of real dominance at the minor league level. So it's ceiling versus floor kind of the battle here.
Okay. Well, let's get started. Carter Jensen goes first.
Wow.
There's no way to put it any other way. I mean, Carter Jensen rocketed through a couple of, didn't have his usual kind of struggles that he would have. He usually kind of needed a little time to get to the, get a feel for the different levels, but was really crushing it in AAA. You can make a case the Royals may have promoted the wrong bat when they brought up Jack Caglione. Certainly the more advanced hitter was Carter Jensen. I liked seeing him behind the dish at the end of the year. Wish we'd have seen more of that. In fact, I think you probably should have seen him over Luke Maile earlier, and they should have trusted in him. But can't wait to see him be a part of the equation. And I think he and Salvador Perez is going to be a great catching combination next year. It better be the case. He better be behind the plate and advanced as far as taking pitches. We saw the immense power, 482 feet. What's not to like about Carter Jensen, I say to you, Rany?
The only thing that makes me nervous about Carter Jensen is that it almost seems too good to be true. Like, this is a guy who has always needed an adjustment period in the minor leagues, every level. And then he comes to the major leagues and puts up a 900 OPS in September. And it was, if it were all batting average, I'd say, well, he just got lucky with balls in play. But I mean, in 60 at bats, he had 9 extra base hits. He had 3 homers and 6 doubles. If you take out all of his singles, he still hit 150, which doesn't sound like much, but Jack Caglione hit 157. So right. Carter Jensen was almost as likely to hit an extra base hit as Jack Caglione was to get any kind of hit. He also had 9 walks in those 60. The secondary skills, which are the things that are stable, even, in a small sample size, were incredible. I mean, is he going to hit 300? No, but the everything else he showed, if he hits 240, he's going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of quality we're talking about here. The only question we have with him is, can he catch at the major league level? And that skepticism, some of that is him paying for the sins of, other people, MJ Melendez. And, he probably doesn't deserve that. I think he will be a competent major league catcher and an above average hitter. And if he is, that makes him a really, really good major league player, hopefully next year.
And you mentioned this draft really starts at 2.
Yeah, the decision.
3.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who you have it 2, but I honestly, I think I know who you have it 2. I'm nervous enough about him that I'm not going in the direction that, maybe the obvious direction.
Okay.
So my number 2 pick is going to be Josh Hammond.
Really? Okay.
And it says something about the organization, maybe, that, I'm drafting a guy who has yet to appear in a minor league game. The Royals' first round pick this year, and not their first round pick, their second first round pick. I like Sean Gamble a lot, but I just like Josh Hammond a little bit better. I just think the profile of this player, he's a third baseman who was a two-way guy in high school. He's no longer pitching. He's got the arm of a pitcher, but he's going to be able to focus on hitting. He's got the power and the plate discipline and the potential third base defense. I mean, the comps, you see Austin Riley and you see Josh Donaldson. This to me is as much a pick of a show of confidence in Brian Bridges as it is the player himself, because this is a Brian Bridges draft pick, and I really like what I've seen from Brian Bridges so far. And this is exactly the kind of player. I mean, he drafted Austin Riley in Atlanta, and the comp for me it was hard to resist. There's like 5 different guys I could consider here, but I really would have preferred to have gone number 1 overall, but I'm going to really bet on Josh Hammond having a really, really good pro debut next year and hopefully being a top 100 prospect when the season's over.
Okay. Who did you think I was? I
was assume you're saying Blake Mitchell. And I certainly like Blake Mitchell, and I give it some thought. I'm just a little bit nervous about not just, and we'll get to him at some point very soon, I'm sure, but not just the lack of power this year, which obviously for the injury, but the strikeout rate from a guy was already old when he was drafted is, I think just turned 21 already. I'm a little bit nervous about the ability of that bat to develop. So I'm holding off on him for now. And then with my next pick, I decided I want to diversify my portfolio here a little bit. So I have a hitter. I'm going to take the pitcher. And after giving this a lot of thought, and again, I really was hoping not to have to be in the position where I have to make this choice now, but I am going to take Rany Jazayerli.
Okay.
And I took him over David Shields, and they're really very, very, very close here. Shields had the better performance probably overall in low A ball, even after Rany Jazayerli got there. But Chourio is a year younger. He's 17. Or he just turned 18, but he pitched the entire season at 17, whereas Shields was 18 this season. He's right-handed and Shields is left-handed, but he's already throwing 93 to 97. Shields is, closer to 90. So, but I don't know if his fastball is necessarily better given that he's right-handed, but it's at least the same, and he's younger. And I just think that there's more potential for him to add velocity. I mean, he's listed at 160 pounds right now. I do not think he will make it to the major leagues at 160 pounds. So as he gains weight, he'll probably add some velocity. And I just can't get over this. the Royals and Andy Rogers wrote an article about Rany Jazayerli at the end of August. The headline, all right, this is not like just some like aside in the middle of the piece. The headline: High school Zach Greinke ? This Royals prospect is drawing comparisons. And it's not Andy Rogers making that comparison. It's Royals pitching coordinator Paul Gibson, who we had on this show last week. Quote, from the moment I met him, the way he handles himself, it's hard to believe he's 17, Paul Gibson said. Quote, and then he goes out and does his throwing program and the attention to detail. It's like, oh my God, I haven't seen this in years. In bullpens and in games, it's the same thing. It reminds me a lot of what Zach Greinke looked like in high school, just the stature, and there's something in the delivery that reminds me of him. Unquote. And my first reaction to this was anger, because how dare you compare anybody to Zach Greinke? But then I thought about it and I'm like, I really, really like this comp, because it was kind of in the back of my subconscious somewhere that I was too embarrassed to acknowledge myself. It's not just the stuff, it's the incredible command, but like he said, it's the maturity. Because we talked about it at the time, a 17-year-old from the Dominican getting promoted midseason to Arizona and having to get a visa and come to the United States. That is extremely unusual. You have to be 100% certain of a guy's emotional maturity. And what it reminded me of was the first time we thought Zach Greinke might be something actually special, even after he was drafted with the 7th pick. If you recall, he was 18 years old. He had just been drafted. I think he pitched a couple games in Arizona, the Complex League. And then the Royals sent him to Puerto Rico to play in the Caribbean winter ball 3 months out of high school as an 18-year-old. I'd never seen that before. I'm not sure I've seen that since. And it spoke to the maturity that they thought this guy had to handle a foreign environment, raucous crowds, all of that stuff. Like an American going to the Caribbean winter ball is probably the closest comp you can have to a 17-year-old who's never left the Dominican Republic coming to America. And Zach handled that very well. And then the next year, by the end of the next season, he was one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. And I'm not saying Chourio will be, but I just feel like the upside with this kid is, even at 17, I just could not let him go with this pick. So
I just love how you nerd out to this. You're like, you're so happy.
You put me in a draft, dude. You just said it. I'm a competitive cuss, and so are you. That's why this is fun.
It is. And so I'm actually very happy, because I would have taken David Shields, who I'm going to take right now. I would have taken him over Chourio just because he's a little bit further along, and he didn't finish negatively. I mean, there was a little bit of a regression there at the end from Chourio, and so I'm not panicking. If you'd taken Shields, I'd be taking Chourio here. So I think it's, I think either way, that was going to be the next guy to go in this situation. But what's not to like about Shields? I mean, he's been literally everything you could ask for, right? Like, I mean, stuff, control. I think he's going to be top 100 this year, don't you?
I think he will. Again, we talked about this. He probably won't be consensus. Like, I don't think every single list you see will have him there, but at least a few will. Yes.
Why? Why wouldn't you?
I think people will look at him and just say the velocity is just still not. It's not majorly average yet, and until he shows the ability to add some velocity, I think that would be the concern. That would be the reason.
The kid just turned 19.
Yeah. That's why I think he would be in my top 100. Let's put it that way. But I can see a case for it.
75 innings, 86 strikeouts at a very young age down there. Only 15 walks. Yeah, I mean, you figure he fills out. He's 6'2", 210. He's got a projectable body. Everything seems to be clean. David Shields goes next for me. And then with my next pick, I'll go and take Sean Gamble, the guy the Royals took ahead of Hammond, because I've already got Carter Jensen. So what would be the fun of taking both catchers? So I'll diversify my portfolio with outfielder, second baseman Sean Gamble. He was their top pick this year, and I will, like you, ride with another one of the Brian Bridges draft picks, and I will make him. What would that make him? He would be our. Let's see. I got to put him on the board here.
Fifth pick.
He'd be our 5th pick, and so second baseman, outfielder. Sean Gamble is where I'm going to go. That's to me. The only other option here was Blake Mitchell. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I assumed you were going to be taking Blake Mitchell, and I was going to take Sean Gamble. So that makes this decision easier for me. I mean, I'm a little bit down.
Hold on. Don't get ahead of yourself. Get ahead of yourself. We are only 5 picks into our Sweet 16. We will take a quick break, and then we will find out. Rany is up. Where is he going to go with the 6th pick? We will do that after we hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. With free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty, Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Your favorites are back, Kansas City, now for a limited time at all your Kansas City Whataburger locations. The Bacon Wrangler Double, 2 large beef patties, American Monterey Jack cheese, bacon, fried onion strings, pickles, and chipotle aioli sauce. Or how about the sweet and spicy bacon burger? 2 large beef patties, American and Monterey Jack cheese, bacon, grilled onions, and topped with sweet and spicy pepper sauce. Or grab the patty melt or even the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich. They're all perfect with the Whataburger Dr. Pepper Blackberry Shake. Remember, Whataburger is open 24 hours a day with breakfast served from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. And don't forget, you can get all your Whataburger favorites and more by downloading the Whataburger app with the QR code. Whataburger, proud sponsor of the Kaufman Corner podcast. All right, now, Rany, now you are up. Now you can make your pick at number 6.
I just could not contain my excitement at getting Blake Mitchell with the 6th pick in our draft. I just, it's easy to forget. Again, he was injured. Like, you look at the numbers, yes, it was a huge disappointment, but a year ago, he was an absolute consensus top 3 prospect in the system. And, was actually a, top 100 prospect in all of baseball, according to both Baseball Prospectus and MLB Pipeline. Baseball America did not have him in, or no, they did. I take that back. Baseball America and Major League Baseball both had him in top 100. He had an injury that we knew would sap his power. So the fact that he slugged in the 290s in A-ball this year should not be held against him that much. He had a 372 OBP. I mean, we talk, for as much as we talk about plate discipline and, the importance of teaching that in the organization, it helps to get players who have it like innately. And Blake Mitchell seems to just have the innate ability to take walks. Like, he has 627 at bats as a professional player and 150 walks. Like, that's, if his power develops at all, like, that plate discipline will add an immense value. And he's a catcher. He might not always be a catcher, but at least right now he does still project as one. So there is a chance we'll look back at this and be like, how on earth did we let Blake Mitchell fall to the 6th pick in the draft a year from now? So I'm actually pretty happy to get him at this point.
Okay. And with your 7th pick.
And now we have another decision point, because to me, there was an obvious consensus number 1 who you got, and then there was an obvious consensus top 6. And
I would agree.
I keep looking at this, and there are some guys I like here, and I'm just going to go with the guy. I was really hoping to slip this guy to my next turnaround, number 10 and number 11. But he's the guy I have the most confidence in at this point, even though we don't think about him as a prospect that much, and that is Luinder Avila. Who, yes, he's a reliever now. Probably will always be one, although I do not want to discount the fact that, he was a starting pitcher in the minor leagues up until a month before he got called up, and was very well thought of as a pitcher, as a starting pitcher. So, like, as a fallback option, if he's a reliever, there's still some upside there. But man, what he showed in 14 innings in the major leagues was very impressive. Like his Baseball Savant page, there's a lot of red there, my friend. Like his fastball velo, 75th percentile, 95.8. His extension is 86th percentile, 6.9 feet, meaning like he's a fairly tall guy, 6'3". That's pretty, I don't know, that's pretty average really for, a major league pitcher. But he extends very well on the mound, which means he lets go of the ball closer to the plate, makes that fastball play up even more. And then, his curveball, he threw his curveball 44% of the time in his brief major league time. His barrel rate, 2.9% of the time he allowed a barrel, which is like 99th percentile. His hard hit rate was only 29% of the time he allowed a ball hit 95 miles an hour or harder, also 99th percentile. Like there is a lot to like in those 14 innings. And just watching him, it was like this guy, by the end of the season, I was like, I think this guy should be pitching the 8th inning. So even if that's all he is, I'll take the guaranteed, ready now major league reliever here with a potential to be more than that. Because everybody from this point on to me just has a question mark or two.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, I think there are question marks all over the place as we move forward here. And so now what are you doing? Are you going upside, or are you going with someone that you think is, probably got a spot like, oh, this guy can platoon, or this guy, this guy at least can be a reliever. And for me, it gets, it gets a little tough.
That's the problem.
Wow. I did not think you were going to go Avila. I'll be honest with you.
Were you planning to take him there?
Yeah, I could, because I felt like, okay, I know he's going to pitch. I know he's going to be there.
Exactly. Well,
and I can see us going back and doing a review of this, and, Avila being an 87 strikeout weapon out of the bullpen, and it's going to make you look real good. Right.
Well, I mean, look, inevitably of these 16 guys, like, 4 or 5 of them are just gonna be like complete busts next year. It's just the nature of the game. And so if this guy sticks in the major league bullpen all of next season, that right there is going to put him ahead of a bunch of guys, right? Even if he's not great. And if he is great, then that's something to be really excited about.
Yeah.
So who are you taking?
All right. I think we're going to go back to back upside here. I'm going to go first. I'm going to go with is he 18 or 19? Yandel Ricardo.
Yep, I figured he was
shortstop. Talking about a kid who is really young, really raw. This past year in what's ACL is the
Arizona Complex.
Arizona Complex League. He hung 342, 438, 533. In Columbia, the numbers weren't as good, but we're talking about a kid who's now 19 years old, or is going to be 19. What is he now? October, just turned 19 years old. Has speed, 31 stolen bases in 39 attempts, but will walk a little bit, So I'm going to go with the upside on the shortstop.
Good pick. Yeah. I mean, he would have, if we had done this mid-season when he was hitting, in ACL, I would have had him in my top 5 for sure. Like he did struggle at an A-ball, but 18 years old. And, it's not like his strikeout to walk ratio fell apart. I mean, he still commanded the strike zone. He just didn't, presumably just not physically strong enough to really barrel the ball.
Switch hitter.
At that level. Yeah. And he's a switch hitter. So like, and then, he got a lot of money to sign, like, as an amateur. Like he was well thought of when he was 16 years old, coming out of Cuba, and, could absolutely be a breakout guy next year. So good pick.
And so I'm going to stick with the same theme. And basically, if I'm going to take upside on one guy, I'm going to take upside on another guy. The idea being, okay, 2 lottery tickets, right? Talented, young, upside. Give me Asbel Gonzalez.
Okay.
Who had what, like 77 stolen bases? Was that what it was?
I think he actually, he disappointed at the end of the year because he didn't break the Royals all-time, professional record. He finished with 78, I believe. The record might create 85, but he got close.
But he walked 54 times. He tends to get on base. He's got to be able to get the bat on the ball. He's got to hit better. mean, that's one of the things that's going to have to happen. The 239 batting average is a little bit scary, but he's got a trait, and he's shown at least. He's not Terrence Gore. I'll put it that way.
Right. And he's got the youth to develop other skills. I mean, with him, he's another guy who mid-season he would have been much higher on my list. I mean, in April he hit 398 with a 510 on base, and we definitely devoted a minor league minute to him. From that point to the end of the season, he hit 191, albeit with a 327 OBP. Like, that's the thing. He understands his job. He's a future leadoff guy, get on base, but it's just the question of, can he hit the ball with enough authority to keep pitchers honest and earn those bases on balls? Because if he can't hit for power, they're just going to pound the zone with strikes, and he's not going to, be able to use his OBP skills the way you would want him to.
And he's a true center fielder.
Exactly.
So he's going to play that spot, and they have a need there. So I think if he would take a step, he could be quick to the big leagues, because they have a need. I think, if the bat came around, they have a need in center field for him. So, okay. So that's pick number 9. Okay. You are now up for 10 and 11, Rany.
All right. So I'm going to once again kind of mix and match upside with floor with the number 10 pick overall. This is where I take Ben Kudrna.
Okay.
Who, again, going into August, I really thought that was becoming underrated as a pitching prospect, because he was having a very good season in Double-A Northwest Arkansas. In 94 innings there, he had 33 walks and 96 strikeouts. His command had improved quite a bit from previous years. He was only 22. And, this is also, not that it really matters that much, but he's a local kid, went to Blue Valley Southwest. Him and Carter Jensen have known each other for forever, and Carter Jensen was his catcher at the start of the season. But then he got promoted to Omaha, and I don't know what happened, but 17 walks and 10 strikeouts in 11 innings is not a good showing at all. And I have to assume that on some level he wasn't pitching 100%. And he goes into next season with question marks. But my feeling is, even if he washes out as a starter, he can always move to the bullpen, and he has the kind of stuff. He throws mid-90s now. You put him in the bullpen and maybe have him drop his worst pitch, and he could be a force out of the bullpen as well. So if I'm going to take Lewin or Avila, at pick 7, is how much of the difference between them is just the fact that Avila has already moved to the bullpen and shown what he can do there, and Kudrna has not had that opportunity. So I'm confident he's going to, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be in the majors, and probably pretty soon. The upside may not be some of the other guys, but some of these other guys may never make the major leagues at all. So Kudrna is my first of these 2 picks. And then with the 11th pick overall, I am going to take the other upside guy I thought you might take, which is Ramon Ramirez. And he's the catcher who was at Low A Columbia this year, had a 781 OPS. He's basically hit at all 3 seasons he's been a pro. He started in the Dominican, then was in Arizona last year, and this year finally full season ball. The catching skills are a little questionable, although I've seen scouting reports that still express a lot of confidence that he can catch, and can throw enough to be a major league catcher eventually, because he threw out less than 20% of base runners this year. But the bat is really impressive. Like, the power is really, it's legit. It's major league, above average peak exit velocities. All the stuff you want to see from a kid who turned 20 just back in June. So the Royals, have more depth at catching than probably any other position, and on the field. And he, like Blake Mitchell, is definitely a trade candidate this winter if the Royals are looking to make a splash. But I think that this guy's got a very good opportunity to be a major league, contributor at some level in a couple of years.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like the way you're thinking there. I like where you're going. I am going to think for just a minute about where to go.
Yeah, this is not the greatest this is an indictment of the Royals farm system that we're like, 11 names in now, and both of us are just kind of like running out of options here. And,
well, I see plenty of upside guys, but I don't see there's no more Luinder Avilas.
There's no slam dunks.
More of those.
Yeah.
Is what I'd like to see. I'll make my pick after we hear from our friends at Whataburger. Your favorites are back, Kansas City, now for a limited time at all your Kansas City Whataburger locations. The Bacon Wrangler Double, 2 large beef patties, American Monterey Jack cheese, bacon, fried onion strings, pickles, and chipotle aioli sauce. Or how about the sweet and spicy bacon burger? 2 large beef patties, American and Monterey Jack cheese, bacon, grilled onions, and topped with sweet and spicy pepper sauce. Or grab the patty melt or even the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich. They're all perfect with the Whataburger Dr. Pepper Blackberry Shake. Remember, Whataburger is open 24 hours a day with breakfast served from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. And don't forget, you can get all your Whataburger favorites and more by downloading the Whataburger app with the QR code. Whataburger, proud sponsor of the Kaufman Corner podcast. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warning. Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. All right. The question here is, do I keep going with the upside train? Because I don't see. Do you see anybody? I guess I could take. Even the guys that you're like, well, that's a little bit more of a steady pick, is still like a ways away.
Yeah. No, there's slim pickings in AAA, right? For sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the problems. All right. So I'm going to go Drew Beam. No, I'm not.
No?
Because if I don't take him here, then I'm going to take Carson Rocafort.
Ooh, you man, I thought I could slip him to 14. Okay, we have
I'm going to take Carson Rocafort.
You pick of the draft, because I really thought I could slip him past.
Well, and I figured you did. But I think he is the closest thing to where you're like, okay, I think this guy's going to get to the big leagues. 23 years old, left-handed, seems to know the strike zone. I like his game, and I think there's I hear some people kind of talking more and more about him. Last year at AA, 290, 387, 475. I mean, I like the fact that he actually hit once he got to AA. Also can steal a base, has some speed, had 43 stolen bases last year between high A and AA, 43 of 54. Which is what I think they're looking for. Some extra base pop, as he had plenty of doubles. So I'm going to take Carson Rocafort here. I think he's probably a little bit undervalued because he's 23 years old, and I think that's where it is. But I think he's going to get to the big leagues. And then for my second pick, do I go back there? For my second pick, I'm going to take – this is so hard. I'll go Drew Beam. I'll take some projectability. I'll go ahead. I've already said his name, so you didn't react, and so that was part of the reason why I'm like,
no. The reason is because I was really hoping to get Carson Rocafort. Well, I want to. He's my kind of my favorite sneaky prospect kind of in the system, and I'm impressed you took him there. But I mean, I completely agree. As a Drew Beam, I mean, to me, that's again also a bet on Brian Bridges as much as anything else, right?
Yes.
He had a good year. Like he did everything. He checked off all the boxes, but he didn't dominate. The strikeout rate wasn't there. He didn't get a promotion midseason, which kind of surprised me. He pitched very well in high A ball all year, but he was, I think a college pitcher, I think out of Tennessee. So comes from a major program. So you expect him to be ready and polished, and he was, but I was just hoping for a little more dominance. But if he adds even a tick more velocity, he could take a step forward. So that pick, I think Drew Beam going there is completely fine. But Roccaforte, so to me, Roccaforte is actually the exception that proves the rule in the sense that I think the Royals have done a really good job developing him as a hitter. I did not like him as a draft pick when they took him in 2023. He was their second round. I think they may have had 2 second round picks. He might have been like a supplemental second rounder. And he played at Louisiana Lafayette in the Sun Belt Conference, not exactly, high caliber competition. His numbers were good, but not dominant. And his first full season in the minor leagues in 2024, he hit 208, 293 on base and a 342 slug. Wasn't that impressive. This year, he came back. He went back to high A ball, only at 237. But like you said, the secondary skills, he was drawing a lot of walks, stealing the bases, and the pop really developed. And then he went to Double A in July and hit better at Northwest Arkansas. He made that the jump that is considered the most treacherous jump in the minor leagues from A ball to Double A, and was better. And his overall numbers, I love looking at him. He only hit 258, which is still actually really good in modern baseball, but a 373 on base and a 470 slug because 82 walks, 43 stolen bases, 18 homers, 30 doubles, 7 triples. He filled up the stat sheet. And then you have to throw in the fact, to me, what really makes him an underrated prospect. He was the Frank White Defensive Player of the Year in the organization. He is not Asbel Gonzalez. Carson Roccaforte was considered the best defensive center fielder in the system. The award for the best defensive player at any position. And he can pick it in the outfield. He can go get it. He's got really good range. You add all that together, like you said, it seems inevitable he's going to crack a major league roster at some point, even if he's as a 4th outfielder. But he could be a really good 4th outfielder because he does so many things. He can run. He can run into one, hit for some pop, and he can play really good defense. And if he develops a little bit more, he might be an everyday guy. So I really like this pick at 12. I was really hoping that you wouldn't notice him and I could slip him in at 14. But
I'll be honest with you, I was thinking about him before that. I was thinking about him my last time around when I took Asbel Gonzalez. That's who I was deciding between. So. Yeah. He was never getting to you at 14. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if I'd known, you were thinking that, I might have taken him over Ramon Ramirez at 11, but hey, we're all winners in this draft because they're all Royals prospects. So it's right. All good.
Right.
Okay.
Greg Mazzucato, do
it. Asa Lacy. No, mandatory to bring up his name on this podcast at least once a year, but no.
If we're going to talk prospects, might as well, right?
Yeah, but no, I'm not taking him. Might as well bring up his name. I'm not drafting him. Who I am drafting first, speaking of betting on Brian Bridges, I am going to take Michael Lombardi, who was the Royals' 2nd round pick and their 3rd pick overall.
Tulane.
Yes, in this year's draft out of Tulane, who is a pitcher, but was a 2-way player in college, which, immediately think of Jack Caglione, and then suddenly you take a guy who's playing both sides of the ball and have him focus on one side, and immediate improvement is to be expected. In Lombardi's case, he's going to be a right-handed pitcher. So he's giving up the bat. And when he was drafted, there was a lot of talk about how his fastball metrics were excellent. Like, it's not just the velocity, it's like the late ride. It's the, what do we call that? The vertical break, was it imputed vertical break? I can't remember what the I stands for, but it's his ball drops less than the typical fastball, known as ride or carry, whatever you want to call it. But it made it really hard to hit, and gave him a really good strikeout rate in college. And he also has a good curveball, a very good curveball, and I love that combination. The riding fastball goes up, the curveball that drops. We've not seen him pitch yet. I was a little surprised they did not put him on the mound in even in like A ball or whatever, given that he was a college guy. But the Royals have done this with, Drew Beam didn't pitch at all last year when he was drafted, and then went straight to high A ball. So Michael Lombardi is a guy who I really think could start the season in high A ball next year, and if he could be at Double A by the end of the season. So there are slim pickings here, and like I said, there's no sure things. So I do like the upside with this guy. And the fallback option is he could be a really good reliever. So I think I'm actually really happy to get Lombardi at this point.
Okay. Was that your last?
No, I was 14. I got one more. I got my 16th pick. So this is my last pick.
Your 8th pick.
Yeah,
15th.
my last pick, the 8th pick for me. You have one pick, and then we finish out. Okay, so since this is the last guy I'm going to take, I'm going to go extreme high upside here.
Oh, you're gonna do it, you son of a.
Okay, maybe. I hope so. I hope I'm going to piss you off. I am taking a player that most people have never heard of. He was also like Rany Jazayerli, mind you, who was signed in January of this year. So we didn't know who Rany Jazayerli was, and didn't stop me from taking him second with a second overall pick. So I'm taking Warren Calcagno.
That's who I was wanting to take.
I've already succeeded with this pick because Soren is thoroughly pissed off. I'll trade him to you for Carson Rocafort. No, so he's a 17-year-old. He turns 18. Actually, I think he just turned 18 a couple days ago, but he played this season at 17. He was, before the draft, he was considered one of the top 50 international prospects in this year's class. He got $1.85 million to sign. He's currently a shortstop, and was already ranked by Fangraphs in their top 20 back in May when before he had.
This is who I was going to take instead of Beam.
Oh,
and so I was
know what? And yet
he's not going to take Calcagno. So
the reality of baseball, though, is Drew Beam is still much more likely to have a major league career. It's just so don't beat yourself up over it. It's just that we're suckers for upside, and especially in this farm system right now, that's what you're looking at. But he's considered a true defensive shortstop, and he's listed at 6'2" and 165, so he's going to gain some weight. You figure he doesn't have he has nothing remotely approaching major league power right now. But even having said that, he played 9 games this year. So you read that with a grain of salt. But in 9 games in the Dominican Summer League, he had a .514 on base percentage. Like, he had .346. He had 2 doubles and a homer, and 8 walks. So I'm like, okay, well, that's 9 games. At least he, didn't have the bat knocked out of his hand. So he could be anything. But at this point, given what scouts think of him, given what the Royals think of him, obviously given the money they gave him, I like him better than anyone else available at this spot. And now you get to pick. You get to close us out at 16 with somebody who is not Warren Calcagno.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably just take another one of the. I look at my cheat sheet and see who you've left me. Oh man, I really didn't think I was gonna have to. He was actually already on my sheet.
Those are the best.
I think I'm going to take. Now I want to. You got me scrambling here. All right, I'm going to go with. Why not? I'll just take another high upside guy. Oh, God, you just broke my heart. I'll go with Daniel Vasquez.
Okay.
AA shortstop, but I really wanted. I mean, I could. There's the other guy. What is it? There's another. They have invested in a lot of shortstops. I could take Ramsel Medina.
Right, Ramsel Medina is the other guy. Like, he's like,
he was the other guy, and I'll take him because there's probably a little more upside there. So I'll take. We don't know what he is. So I'll take. Make it Ramsel Medina.
Okay. It's funny though, because when you said Daniel Vasquez, I was going to say. I mean, Daniel Vasquez was talked about 4 years ago when he was signed out of the Dominican as glowingly, if not more glowingly, than guys like Calcagno and Medina are today. So, it's hard. The developing players is hard. And Vasquez finally this year, the first time in his career, he actually slugged 300. But he did it while moving up to AA. So I'm like, Daniel Vasquez is, he's actually Rule 5 eligible now. They actually have a decision to make as to whether or not to protect him. But Ramsel Medina is, like Calcagno, the new bright shiny object who's I think he's 17 years old and could be anything. So
yeah, he signed for half the amount of money that Warren Calcagno.
Right.
So
that's why one of the reasons I took Calcagno ahead of him. So, but
I don't know who I thought you were going to take when I took Drew Beam. I should have taken
So the two guys that are just still on my list as guys I considered, one of them is AJ Causey, who was their 5th round pick last year and is a side arming reliever. And you talk about like, there's no upside there. This guy's going to be a setup man and nothing more in the major leagues, but like might be ready. He might crack the roster next year, like out of spring training. Like he was outstanding in AA this year. I think he hasn't yet to allow a home run in his professional career. 73 innings he threw this year, 48 hits, 0 homers, 18 walks, 75 Ks. So that was a guy, just again, for if we don't believe in upside and we just want to take a sure thing, AJ Causey is going to be a major league pitcher. How good he is, I don't know, but I think it'll be fun because he only throws like low 90s, but he's like coming from the side here. And those guys don't have to throw that hard in order to be effective because they throw off the hitter's timing with their function.
Who was the other guy you were thinking?
Felix Arande, who is a Cuban guy who's kind of quietly moved up. I mean, the
strikeouts aren't there per inning.
They're not. But you know who I was thinking of? He strikes me as not that different than what Luinder Avila was like a year or two ago.
That's fair.
That's why I was looking at him like, he's still starting. If this guy was in the bullpen, we'd probably be raving about him. Mm-hmm. And he's only, I think, 22. Yeah, he's just 22 years old. Pitched in high A ball this year. And, scouts like him. Like everyone says, like, this guy's a good prospect. He's not elite, but, a little bit safer than some of the other guys. So those are the 2 guys I considered.
No Gavin Cross, no Frank Mazzucato.
Mazzucato for sure. Like I said, Gavin Cross, okay, yeah, the second half was nice, but I don't believe it. I mean,
no Javier Vaz.
Yeah, I considered him as well, and if he wasn't 25 years old, I might have had him on the list. Mm-hmm. But at least Javier Vaz was a 15th round pick. Mazzucato, Gavin Cross, let's throw Asa Lacy in. They're all top 10 picks. None of them are on our Sweet 16, and probably wouldn't have been in our top 20, right? So that's unfortunate. And the Royals are still coming, digging themselves out of the hole they created. But there are some really interesting guys on this list. I like the fact that you like Carson Roccaforte as much as you do. And if there's a real deep sleeper in the organization, I would say it's him.
Yeah, I think Blake Walters probably deserves a little consideration, but I think they need to. One of the things I like about them getting all the starting pitching up top is now maybe they can start pushing some guys. I think, where would Luke Hochevar's career have been if they'd have been able to move him to a bullpen spot and not kept starting him? We've talked about that before. I think, there's a chance that like Blake Walters could really flourish once they eliminate whatever pitch it is that he can't command and hopefully take off. That would be interesting to me. The one thing that I did, they do have a lot of young Latin talent, and they need to hit on 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah, they do. I mean, there was a definite fallow period of like 6-7 years where the Royals had very little success in Latin America. Now, the thing is, the lag time between signing guys and them reaching the major leagues is so long that sometimes you think, oh, we had a really great, draft class, and a year later, they're all considered great prospects. And then 5 years later, you look back and like none of them panned out. And conversely, what looked like that fallow period was the time where the Royals signed Maikel Garcia. And you find a Maikel Garcia every couple of years, you're doing fine. So, so they hit on that one. And Maikel, like you mentioned Daniel Vasquez, like Maikel Garcia was a better hitter than Daniel Vasquez, but there was a time Maikel Garcia, like look up like what his power numbers were in the minor leagues. There wasn't much, right? But he was young for his level. But yeah, I'm looking here, 2021. He was as a 21-year-old in A-ball. He hit 4 home runs. In slug, he did slug 405 though. I mean, the contact was there, but like I don't think anybody was projecting him hit 16 home runs in a major league season, be an all-star. So, but I do like the amount of talent they've got in the international side. This last draft class, people are already ranking the Royals among the 3 or 4 best draft classes that what they signed in January. Rany Jazayerli by himself elevates it, but as we mentioned with Calcaño and Ramsel Medina, there's at least 1 or 2 other guys that were ranked very highly. I think they've gotten themselves back on track in that regard.
Yeah, and they need to. I mean, you just can't be going over with that part of the equation. So it's something they're going to have to be better at. All right, we'll see how we did. There's our Sweet 16 Royals prospects. You can see how Gann Asphalt and Concrete does for you. Listen, the weekends are booking up fast. If you need seal coating done, get it done now. Sooner it'll be too cold for them to do it. Gann is still doing it right now, though. Go to GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. One contractor, all things parking lot, no matter how big your parking lot is. Gann works on the biggest lots, no matter the problem. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. And, of course, our friends at Whataburger. You hungry? Now you can take advantage of the fact that they're open 24 hours a day, even serving breakfast 11 p to 11 a. I love that. Go grab you some breakfast. I do it all the time when I'm out and about. And you can, for a limited time, take advantage of the Bacon Wrangler Double. 2 large beef patties, American and Monterey Jack cheese, bacon, fried onion strings, pickles, chipotle aioli sauce. It is tremendous. Get it right now at Whataburger. For the good Dr. Rany Jazayerli, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Kaufman Corner podcast.